When I was in my 20s, I was very poor. And I had this really rich friend who had this really nice high-rise apartment who would go on work trips pretty much every week. And he asked me to come over and feed his cat. And so I had keys to his apartment. We were not dating in any way, shape, or form. And so I would go over to his house once a week, feed his cat, hang out, watch his big screen TV. It was at a time when I did not have air conditioning. And so if it was summer and it was hot, I would hang out in his apartment and sometimes sleep there because the air conditioning was nice. Great. Got it. Good. Okay. So I always had his keys and I always knew when he was out of town. Well, one time I was also a runner at the time. I think you can tell that no longer exists. Anyway, I was running, doing my daily little run. And as I'm running, as does happen with runners, I know we all know about this. I get a little feeling down below. I get a little feeling in my nether regions that things are moving. Things are moving through my ducts, through my channels, and they are on their way out. And I'm talking about pooping. And I'm thinking, okay, I can make it home, I think. And his apartment is about 6 blocks away from mine. And I'm running. I'm trying to get home. And it gets to a point where I can't run no more. I gotta walk. Running is not going to do it. So I get to the turn where either I could turn to go to his apartment or I could just keep going and head to mine. And I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. I'm running by people. There's no bathrooms in the park I was running through. So I make a turn. I make a split-second decision. I have his keys on me and I'm going to his house. And mind you, he was on a trip and this time he had not asked me. He had not asked me to watch his stuff because he was only going to be gone for a night, but I knew he wasn't there. So I am running this way. It's on its way. I am sweating. I am like on the verge of tears. I'm running while I'm walking. I'm waddling my ass up this thing and I get into his apartment and I go up into the elevator, which he's on like the 25th floor. And so I have to wait all these fucking floors and I finally get up to the floor and I go into this apartment and I take the fattest shit I've ever taken. Like, I honestly think this was the fattest shit I've ever taken in my life. It was crazy. I know this was the don't look at me when I say this. I've never seen anything like this. I flush. I try flushing again. Nothing. It won't, there's no attempt. And as it's flushing, toilet bowl's filling. Great. I get a text from my friend. Oh, hey, I'm actually coming home early. Do you want to get dinner tonight as a thank you for watching my apartment? When actually? When is this happening? He's going to be home in 45 minutes. He's coming back from the airport. There is it is Fantasia levels water coming out. Not just water. I have nothing. I have running clothes and the clip that had my keys on it and nothing else, and my phone. His cat is like sitting outside looking at me. Like watching the water. It's coming out of the bathroom. And nothing I do. The plunger is not working. It's not working. I'm plunging my ass off. It's not working. I haven't even answered him yet. I'm just like pretending I didn't see his fucking text because I don't know what to do. I am running around the house. I'm like, oh, why don't I call maintenance? They can come tomorrow. He doesn't know that I was at his house. He doesn't know that. I was just a desperate bitch. It was desperate times. We're calling for desperate measures, and it was the closest bathroom. And I'm like, what if I just left? He wouldn't know. He would never know. He would never know. He might guess, though. So, having nothing on me, his plunger's not working. I take the tools that God has given me. There's no gloves, you guys. There's no gloves. This is a single guy's bachelor apartment. There isn't. I was lucky that there was a plunger, honestly. the hands I was born with. These hands. This exact hand, actually. Into the toilet. In it. I feel it. I feel the clog. You know what it's clogged with. I know what it's clogged with. It was once a part of me, actually. A little bit of myself. I'm in there. And remember when I said it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life? It was. And now I'm like playing, I don't know, pottery wheel with it in the toilet. Not only, the water's still coming out. So like little bits and pieces of it are all over the floor, all over the toilet, dripping onto me. It's everywhere. It's the worst thing that I think has ever happened to me, actually. And I am, yank is the right word. And I opened that clog, and it just goes right back. It was a dream. I was not putting that back in the toilet. I was too scared. He has a trash bag, at least. I've got the trash bag. Put it in the trash bag. And now, he's even closer. It's been 20 minutes since he texted me. This man's on time. I am running around the apartment, cleaning stuff up. And not the apartment. It's in the bathroom. It's out in the hall, but there's no carpet, thank God. It's hardwood floors. I am grabbing every last paper towel I can fucking find. I'm sure at one point in the next couple days, he went in and went, what the fuck happened to all my paper towels? I'm cleaning up everything I fucking can. Everything. I'm cleaning. I'm on the mirrors. I'm on the ceiling. I am cleaning my ass off. And I got to get out of there before he comes back because he didn't know I was in his apartment. He didn't know. My DNA is everywhere. If he had a forensic team come in there and try to figure out who the fuck was in his apartment, I would be caught like that. Like that. They would find it in 2 seconds. And hands. It was Rachel. I clean my ass up, run. There is a stairs, like a stairwell right outside his apartment. I clean it up. I get the trash bag and I'm over my shoulder like an old tiny hobo, and I am running out the door. Like, let me get out of here. And as I'm running into the stairwell, I hear the elevator ding, and I stop and I stand like to the side, and I take like a quick little it's him. And he goes into his apartment, and I get a little ding text on my BlackBerry. This was before iPhones. And I look down, and it's like, hey, did you see my text? I just got home. I can be ready in an hour. And I text him right there. Yeah, I just got back from run. I just need to shower, and then we can go grab dinner. I took the hottest, longest shower I've ever taken in my life. And then he bought me dinner.
Story time on how I was in a school shooting that led to my best friend's death. Okay, so at the time of the shooting, I was 15 years old. I was a sophomore. So this was like 3 years ago. It happened in 2022. Y'all might have heard of it. It was like on the news. It was like kind of a worldwide thing for a little minute. And then like it became just a local thing, like a St. Louis thing. So I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I went to Central Visual Performing Arts High School. So I'm just going to break down my experience from that day. And yeah, so I went to my first period class, which was health. And that was actually one of the people that passed. My teacher, my health teacher, Jean Kushka, she passed away that day. But I had her that morning, but I wasn't in the class when she passed. So I went to her class that day. Nothing more than usual. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of being rude to her that day, but she was kind of like frustrating me. So I wouldn't say rude, but we just wasn't on a nice, peaceful term like we usually are. And I low-key felt bad because she passed away later. and, you know, respect to her family and her, but that kind of eating me up. But I ended up going to my second period class. After my health class, I went to my second period class, which was dance. When we got down there, it's like it was a beginner class coming out of their first period, and they be moving slow because, you know, you got to change out of your leotards and stuff like that. So I'm waiting for a space to clear, and it's making me be late for class because I have nowhere to change at because that class was so packed. The locker room was so packed. So me and my classmates, including my best friend, Alexandria Bell, we all ended up being late because we couldn't change. So by the time we ended up changing, we were going late to class, and I had to use my phone in health class because we were doing a research project. So my phone was dying by the time I got to second period. It was like on 30%. So as we were leaving to go to dance class, like out of the locker room, I was like, oh shoot, let me go get my charger. So I ran back into the locker room to go and grab my charger. As I grabbed my charger, I turned back around. I think I sent a text before I walked back out the locker room. I was in a leotard and like shorts and like tights, but I didn't have any shoes on. So as I turned to go back out of the locker room, I hear a loud boom, like there's boom. And you know, like, I don't know, you know, when you black, you just be like, what was that? So I'm like, what? I paused. I'm like, what was that? And one of my dance teachers, she comes out of the dance office. It kind of like faces the locker room. And she looks at me, and we both looking like, what the hell was that? So we both stand there and pause, and we looking. And then out of nowhere, I just heard, I'm like, and she like motions to tell me to run. And I turn back around, and I slam the door to the locker room. And after that, I'm just hearing gunshots and screams. Like, I'm trying to be in good spirits about it right now, but it was like the most terrifying noise of my life. Like, I don't know who was screaming, particularly in my class, like out of my classmates. I just know they were like gut-wrenching. Like, somebody sounded in pain. It was that bad. So I'm in the locker room and I'm pacing. I'm on my phone. I'm breathing. I'm just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's all I could remember saying, like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I end up going to the very far back of the locker room and balling myself up in a ball and rocking. And then I just started praying to God. I started calling on God, and I was praying because I couldn't call my mom. I didn't have any cell service down there because it was like the locker room just doesn't have any cell service. I was trying to call my mom. I tried to text my mom. I tried to call the police. I couldn't do none of that. So I felt really helpless. And I was the only person in there because all my other classmates were in the classroom. So I was just sitting there rocking, like just praying. That's all I could do. Try not to make this too long. I'll give y'all part 2 if y'all want it. But as I'm in the locker room, no more noise, by the way. Like, it's quiet. I don't hear any screaming. I don't hear any gunshots. I don't hear anything. So I'm just sitting there, and as I'm back there hiding, the locker room door opens real slow, and somebody walks in, and you can tell they're searching, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, oh my God, I'm finna die right now. And I had to prepare myself to die because I was convinced that I was finna die. I'm gonna cut it short right here. Comment if you want part 2.
Okay, I just finished getting ready, but I'm procrastinating running some errands, so let's do a roommate horror story time. And for this story, I have proof, so stay till the end. Okay, so I have a Rolodex of roommate horror stories. All of my friends know I have been, like, cursed with the roommate curse, but this particular roommate, she was the first of the series of horrible roommates, and arguably the worst one. Another long story for another time short. I was at Flagler College my freshman year, transferred to the University of Georgia my sophomore year, and then transferred back to Flagler to finish out my junior and senior year. So when I was moving back to Flagler, I needed housing and a roommate, right? I was an upperclassman. I wind up meeting, we're gonna call her Delaney, through this college Facebook page. We seemingly hit it off, seemingly have things in common. I think, you know what, this seems like the best case scenario, and we agree to room together. Lo and behold, I wind up doing all the hard labor. I find the place, I'm messaging messaging the realtor. I'm like getting the documents together. I'm getting her and her parents to sign it from states away. Like, I do everything, okay? That wound up being the theme of our time cohabiting. She rarely cleaned, rarely pitched into household responsibilities. I had to nag her for her rent. Like, it was not a good experience all around. But the crazy antics were the things that made her the worst roommate. So let's get into it. So in our college town, there is a bar on Beachside. We're gonna call it Sands. And it's like the college bar. Every Wednesday, they do this thing called Flip Night where the bartender flips a coin. If you call it, your drink is free. And so all the college kids go every Wednesday night. It's a big deal. Well, Delaney decided she was gonna go to Flip Night, and for whatever reason, I stayed home. I don't remember why. I went to bed like I would any other night, not thinking anything of it. So the next morning, I wake up super early to what I'm thinking. You know how sometimes your dreams will sort of carry into you waking up and you can't tell where the line is between your dreamland and reality? I was hearing this doodly 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 doot sound in what I thought was my dream, and it was slowly pulling me back to reality and waking me up. And it just keeps going. It's this doodly 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 doot. It almost sounds like a charm or a ringtone. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not an alarm sound. It's like a sing-songy tune. Something to note is that this house we were living in had just been fully updated, so all new appliances, all new flooring, all new everything. Well, eventually I wake up and I'm sitting up in my bed and I hear this sound. It's still going, and I'm realizing that it wasn't just in my dream. So I'm like walking around my room. I'm trying to figure out what's making this noise. I'm like, is it an old electronic? Like, is it my laptop? Is it my phone? I'm checking everything and I can't figure out where this sound is coming from. And eventually I realize it's not coming from inside my room. It's coming from somewhere outside of my room. So I'm like following the sound like Hansel and Gretel, and it eventually leads me to the kitchen. I realize that this sing-songy lullaby doodly 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 doo is coming from the kitchen. Not just coming from the kitchen, it's coming from the oven that is on at 7:30 in the morning. I look at the oven that is seemingly on at 7:30 in the morning and think to myself, self, we didn't turn the oven on at 7:30 in the morning. Self, I don't think there's anyone else here who turned the oven on at 7:30 in the morning. Why is the oven on? And then it finally hits me. It's the preheat alarm that's going off and making this sound, because the oven is a brand new updated appliance. I didn't connect that doodly 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 doo sound could have been an alarm. It wasn't your regular traditional like meh, meh, alarm sound. It sounded like a lullaby tune. It was the preheat alarm. Without skipping a beat, I just reach for the oven and open the door, and poof, smoke comes billowing out. I mean, fills the house with smoke. The fire alarms start going off. It's like a scene out of a movie. So I throw on an oven mitt and I pull out whatever the frick is in the oven. It's a tray of chicken nuggets. Over a dozen chicken nuggets, absolutely charred to filth. And I will show a picture at the end. Charred to filth chicken nuggets. I'm dumbfounded. I put the tray down. I turn the oven off. I go marching over to Delaney's room. Boop, 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 boop. I open the door. Delaney is passed out in her bed, face down, still fully dressed from the night before. Her heels are still on her feet. And she's not responding to me. I'm like, Delaney, hello, trying to wake her up. You almost killed us. You almost burnt the house down. You're lucky these were frozen chicken nuggets, because if there hadn't been an ounce of moisture trapped in there, we would have died. Like, hello. Not even, like shrugging me off. She's not comatose. She like is alive, but she's just so drunk, probably still drunk from the night before. She's not paying me any attention. I was friggin' pissed. This was just the first series of dominoes that led to a disastrous living situation with Delaney. But when I show you this photo, prepare yourselves. Like, if this had not been a frozen item of food, like the water that was trapped in those chicken nuggets, we would have died. It would have burnt the house down, because who knows how long between when she got home, passed out face down in her bed, after putting those chicken nuggets in the oven, who knows how long they were in there? Like, I can't. Anyway, here's the nuggets.
Bruh. Let me tell you guys a story of the many reasons I need to move out, right? So my parents have this bad habit of opening my packages. Every time I order something, no matter what it is, they open it, right? And it didn't really bother me. I mean, it kind of bothered me, but like not to a point where I had to confront them about it. I was like, whatever, it's not like I'm ordering fucking strap-ons. Like, I don't care, open it. Open whatever, like, I don't care. Anyways, one day, I think it was Black Friday, and I had ordered a bunch of things, and they were all coming in on the same day. Anyways, yeah, they were all coming in on the same day, and I was so excited. Literally, I was thinking about it all day at work. I was like, I cannot wait to go home and just have a haul and open all my packages at the same time. I was so excited. I came home, and every single package was opened by them. Like, they were having their own little haul without me. And I was looking annoyed, so I confronted them about it. I was like, can we not, like, open my packages? Like, it's kind of annoying. So they ended up agreeing and saying, okay, we're not going to do it. We're not going to open your packages. I was like, okay, perfect. Anyways, I want you to hold on to that story, okay? A month goes by. My dad's birthday comes up. I decide I want to order him this pretty expensive cologne. So I order this cologne for him from this expensive website. And a week goes by. 2 weeks go by. 3 weeks go by. This cologne never delivers to our house. So I end up contacting the website and saying, hey, like, the cologne never delivered. And they were like, yeah, it did. And I was like, no, it didn't. And we went back and forth several times. And I was like, I want you guys to send a new one. I want my money back. Blah, blah, blah. And it was several back and forth. And they're like, no, it delivered. So I end up getting so mad. I was like, these people are scammers. So I called my credit card company and I tried to dispute the charge. And they were like, yeah, like, we'll look into it. Like, we'll try to give you your money back. And I was like, okay, fine. But my dad's birthday had already passed. I was like, fuck. So I ended up ordering the same cologne from Amazon. It was a little more, but I ended up ordering it from Amazon because I was like, okay, I have to get my dad something. So I ordered the exact same cologne. So now I paid twice for this really expensive cologne. But I was like, you know what? Bad things happen. It's fine. I ordered it and it comes in from Amazon. I was like, perfect. The time that it delivered, I was at my friend's house, okay? I was at my friend's house when this cologne delivered, but I got the notification from Amazon saying that it had delivered. I was like, oh my gosh, perfect. I'm gonna go home and I give my dad his birthday gift, okay? So as I'm at my friend's house, my mom calls me. Anyways, my mom calls me and here is the interaction, okay? Hey, the cologne that you ordered for your dad delivered. Okay, perfect. I'll give it to him when I get home. Yeah, I'm just really confused. Why did you order another one? Yeah, why did you order another one? You ordered one 2 weeks ago and it came in and I gave it to your dad? You what? Yeah, the cologne delivered 2 weeks ago and I gave it to your dad? You gave the cologne I ordered for him to him without telling me? So I end up explaining the entire story, right? I told her exactly what happened, how I've been going back and forth with this website, how I ordered the fragrance again, all that stuff, okay? She responds and says, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you ask me where your package was? I didn't think that you took my package and gifted it to him on my behalf. Honestly, I don't know why you would do that. Why would you order another one? You know what? It's fine. I'll return the fragrance I just ordered. It's fine. Mind you, I was fuming. But I didn't want to, like, overreact. So I ended up just, like, ending the call and saying, it's fine, whatever. Like, I wanted to have a good time. I was still at my friend's house. Whatever, okay? Anyways, the next day, I go on Amazon. I try to return this cologne. It says, you are not able to return this product. I wasn't able to return it. I was stuck with an extra cologne, a men's cologne, and I didn't know what the fuck to do with it. So I ended up confronting my parents and saying, like, this is actually not okay. Like, you guys can't be opening my packages. Like, this happened to me. Like, now I have an extra cologne. My dad was like, don't worry. Like, I could take the extra cologne. I was like, that's not it. That's not it. It's the fact that you guys keep opening my packages. And it was a whole thing. I was being very respectful, but they ended up saying, we're never going to open your packages again. And honestly, they never did. But I think about that story several times. And it still pisses me off. Oh, also there is a happy ending to the story. My brother ended up graduating and I gave him that cologne as a graduation gift. So there is a happy ending.
Here's the story of my 6-year-long stalker that literally stalked me for 6 years of my life. I guess he probably would have stalked me way longer, but he's, so, you know, R.I.P. I guess. I really don't know. You traumatized me, so burn in hell. When I was 17, I got a message on Instagram, and it was from this guy who literally looked just like Tupac, like looked like an impersonator. And let's just call said Tupac impersonator Carl. Carl messaged me and was like, "You are so beautiful, let me take you out to dinner." Of course, my 17-year-old self was like, "Period, Tupac. Yes, you can take me out to dinner." The only thing a guy my age had ever asked me to do was finger me in his mom's basement. So it was like, I'm being swept off my feet. Boy, was that a mistake. That was quite the mistake. I asked him how old he is, and he's like, "I'm 19. And I'm like, perfect. I'm 17. He's probably so mature. Like, he's probably so mature. So a couple days later, he picks me up in a brand new Altima. And I'm just like, what 19-year-old has a brand spanking new Altima? I don't know one. At this point, I was like, is Tupac alive? Is Tupac alive? When I tell you I was expecting to go to like a McDonald's, no. We went to a steakhouse. At this point, I'm kind of like confused because he looks his age. He looks 19, but he's spending money like he's in his mid-20s. So during the date, he tells me that he only pays for dates if he ends up liking the girl a lot. So I take this as a challenge because I have $12 to my name at this point, and I'm like, he needs to like me because this place is expensive. Baby, I'm pulling out the bells and the whistles. Tell me about your trauma. Tell me about your ex-girlfriends. Tell me about your life. How's your mom? Everything I can think of. Hey babe, well, he liked me too much, all right? So he paid for the date, and then he proceeded to take me to Sonic, and we got the grossest milkshake I've ever tried in my entire life. We're waiting for that disgusting milkshake in the drive-thru. He starts telling me about the last date he went on with the last girl he went on a date with, and let's call her Maria. Start to realize that I go to school with Maria. I know who Maria is. Not only do I know who Maria is, but she's like in my inner group of friends. So like I hang out with her pretty frequently. After this like 3-hour-long date, he finally takes me home, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to ask Maria about Carl when I go to school tomorrow. Like, I need to know why he didn't pay for their date. What happened? She's so cool. Like, what happened? Next day at school, I go up to her at lunch, and I'm like, yo, you went on a date with Carl? And she's like, Carl? And I was like, yeah, Tupac Carl. Like, what about it? She's like, please tell me you didn't go on a date with him. And I'm like, yeah, I did. He took me to the steakhouse. She's like, well, on the day I found out that he was actually 24. At this point, I'm doing the math in my head. Like, how old would Tupac be right now? And obviously it's not 24, so we were good. Like, yeah, and I also found out that he has a girlfriend. After we were done with the date, the girlfriend reached out to me, and I was like, oh, awesome. So not only is he a creep, but he also has a girlfriend. Really not shit. Like, they are not. Honestly, I text him, and I'm like, you're literally a liar and a creep. Why would you lie about your age? And also you have a girlfriend. And then I just blocked him. You probably would think that would be the end of that, but it absolutely was not. I'm definitely gonna need a part 2. I'm so sorry.
Okay, now listen to this crazy story. It is 100% true. I'm not lying about this, okay? It's gonna sound crazy, but it 100% happened to us. So, when me, my mama, and my baby brother lived in Rochester, Minnesota, we lived in this apartment building, and it was an entity, like a demon, in the apartment that looked like me. I know. Imagine me being the person, right? So what had happened was, we lived in this apartment building, and my mama rule when it came to going out for me was my curfew's 11 o'clock. If you cannot make it back in this house by 11 o'clock, wherever you are, make sure you can spend the night there. Because if you're going to blatantly disrespect me by not following my house rules, then you won't be in my house. And as an adult, you know, okay, even as a kid, I said, well, I just won't come in. So anytime I wasn't in my room, my door was open. Because what do I need to close for? Ain't nothing in there. But when I'm there, my door is closed. And so one night, I'm out because I knew I wasn't coming back. And I told my mama, I'm going out. She was like, I already know. I packed my little spend of the night bag, and I was in the streets. So my baby brother slept in my room. So that means the door is closed because it's not me in there, but it is a human being in there. And so we call my baby brother Foots. His real name is Larry though. But so Foots is in my room and the door is closed. Supposedly, this is what my mom said. I come in the house at like maybe 10:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock, because you could come back home. You just can't come home after the curfew in the middle of the night. You just have to wait till the next day, daytime, to come home. So I'm coming home with my bag, and my mama's sitting on the couch. I said, what I do? I already knew I did something. She was like, what I tell you about coming in this house after the curfew and then coming in my room messing with shit on my dresser? I said, I wasn't here last night. She was like, Michelle, yes, you was. You was in my room looking for something. I don't even know what you was looking for. I said, here is my bag. I said, do you want me to call the people who I was with last night? They will tell you I was with them at their house last night. She was like, call them. Because I don't. So me and my baby brother always pranked my mama. We just thought it was so funny. We just thought, I don't know, just being kids, I guess. So she like, between you and Foots, I don't trust y'all. You could have been staying out to try to do this prank on me. And she not wrong. It's something I would do, but it wasn't me. So I called my friend, hey, wasn't I with you last night? All last night. She's like, yeah, you were. And my mom was like, I said, why you say I came home? She said, girl, because you came in my bedroom, like kind of slid in. You didn't open the door. You cracked the door. You slid into the room and you was kind of just patting around on a dresser, not looking up, but just patting on top of things, like just patting on a dresser. And then when I said, like, girl, what do you want? You just turned around and left. She was like, I didn't even see your face. I knew it was you because it looked like from when you walked in, it looked like you and you just walked out. I said, Mama, that wasn't me. That was not me. I was not here. So I'm like, Foots, did I come in the room last night? He was like, no, you was gone all night. I said, exactly. She was like, well, that's strange. Well, I don't know because it sounds like y'all not trying to run no prank on me. I said, we're really not trying to run no prank. So a couple of months passed. And it happened again, but I was home. So me and my baby brother was in my room chilling. We fall asleep in my room. My room door is closed because I'm in the room. So it was like in the middle of the night. It had to be like 1 a.m. I heard my mama come in my room, but I didn't wake up because she just like cracked the door. But she didn't like come in, but I heard her crack the door. And so I'm like, whatever, like if she needs something, she'll wake me up. So, I'm still asleep. She go back in her room. She come back in the room maybe an hour or so later, and she was like, Michelle. And this me, I'm deep sleep now. Deep waking up ugly, like, what? She was like, you wasn't just in my room? I'm like, no, I was not in your room. She said, girl, when I say I just seen something that looked just like you doing the same thing then when you wasn't here that night, just touching around on my dresser, slid in the room, you didn't open the door, whatever it was. I said, stop saying it's me. She said, whatever it was, it don't open the door all the way. It just cracked the door a little bit. It just slides in the room and you just start patting and looking on my dresser. And she said, but this time, when I said, Michelle, what the hell are you looking for on my dresser? She said, it turned around and said nothing and just walked out. And she was like, and that's why I came over to your room because there is no way you can walk out my room. And it's not like a big apartment. It was like a short hallway between her room and my room. And she like, there was no way you could have ran back in here, jumped in the bed and act like you was asleep. If it was you. I said, I'm telling you, it was not me. It wasn't me. And so she was like, okay, we gonna go to church. So Rochester only had like one church that I knew of. And everybody went to the same church, but the church was really lame. So we would be on and off going to the church. So my mom like, we going to the church because we need somebody up in here to start praying for real. Because maybe my prayers ain't getting through or whatever. So the priest or the pastor of the church, he come with a couple of other people from the church. And he's like, as soon as he walked in, he was like, yeah, it's definitely something in here. But what's in here is kind of sneaky. Like I can sense it. It's like I can feel it. That it's in here, but it's like hiding really good. And I don't know where it's hiding, but it's like strong and weak at the same time. And so he like, I need all the kids to get out. Get out. I'm trying to see too. I'm trying to see what's going on around here because it's me. Why you using me? Right? So we go out in the hallway. We were supposed to leave out of the building, but we so damn nosy. So we go outside and we just hear rack. And so next minute we know, it like a bunch of ruckus is going on in the house. Then it just get quiet. Y'all, my hair is crazy. Look at this. Sorry. Then it just gets quiet. And the pastor was like, hold on, no. It's not gone. It's still in here. And we like, what? And so next minute we know, again, a lot of ruckus. The door flies open. The front door flies open. And it's like a gush of wind. No lie. If I'm lying, I am flying, y'all. I'm not lying. Next minute we know, we have a the apartment that we stayed in, it was like a storage room right across the hall from us, like this. And it was always locked because, as y'all know, my mama moved a lot. So we didn't really accumulate too much stuff. We just lived off whatever we needed. And so the storage room was right across the way from our apartment. And so when the door flinged open, you know, my mama like, yeah, it's gone now for sure. And so the pastor, he's just walking through the house to do like a final whatever. And he's like, yeah, it's not in here, but it is still here. And my mom was like, what? Like, why would the door fly open? If he was like, I don't know where it is now. I don't think it's in your apartment. I don't think it's in these four walls, but it's still in here because I can sense it. The pastor again say, kids, y'all need to get out of the apartment building. Y'all need to go outside and stand on the front, like on the pavement, like out of the building. And so we did leave the building, but we went and stood like on the back side of the apartment building where we can still kind of see, kind of hear what's going on. So as we're listening to what's going on, the pastor was like, it's in that storage room. The storage room's locked. We've never opened the storage room. We never removed the key from the storage room. He said it's in the storage room. And I think what's been happening is that people have probably came and prayed, and it goes out in the storage room, and people don't sense it in the house anymore. And so they think that it's gone, and it's not. It's hiding. Just like it was hiding somewhere in here, it could have never been hiding in here. It could have always been in the storage room. Okay. So I'm going to make a part 2 to finish it up.
Hey internet, my name's Kira, and I can't say it out loud because it makes me ill, but I was scammed for a large amount of money, and I feel so dumb. There are a lot of emotions. This was about 24 hours ago, and I'm still settling in, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened to me. But I just want to put this out here because I do not want this to happen to anybody else, because it is not recoverable. This wasn't a digital scam. This wasn't something that I can just tell my bank, hey, I didn't do this, and I get it back. This was so, like, I was dumb. You need to, like, think. Like, I had a moment of dumbness, and they got me for my life savings. Sorry. I don't, like, want to post myself crying on the internet, but I can't talk about this without crying, so I apologize for my emotions. I genuinely want to get this out there. If it saves one person, that's helpful. But if you know me, you think I'm really dumb now if you watch this, and that's okay. I just want people to know about the situation, because one less person would be nice. So let me get to it. So yesterday I get a call from my bank, and it was my bank's number. I Googled the number. I am like going, like, in my head, like, yes, that, like, back and forth, like, is it my bank, is it a scam, I finally, like, tell myself, like, this is real. I Googled the number, this guy seems legit, like, he's not asking me for any of my information, he's telling me that there's been fraudulent activity on my card, and asking me if I am aware of a charge in Texas. I say, no, I'm not in Texas, I'm in Colorado. So that's happened to me before, and normally the next step is, like, they freeze my card, and then I get sent a new one. But that was not what happened to me this time. He said, okay, I need to transfer you to our fraud department. They are going to bring you through the next steps. And okay, cool. So I get transferred. It's like a new number. I'm thinking it's real at this time, so I don't, like, Google this new next number. I'm just listening, and she's telling me that actually I'm a victim of identity theft, and that there's somebody in the bank using my ID or all the information on my ID to make a withdrawal of all of my money. And so I'm at this point starting to really panic. I am panicked beyond, I am a very anxious person, which I think that this definitely helped them get this scam, because once they got me into a state of panic, I don't know why, but I was all trusting of them, and I'm so ashamed and angry at myself. So if you can't think I'm more dumb than I already think I am, so I guess that's why I'm posting it. So she tells me that it's identity theft and that this person is obviously not me on the cameras, but they just want me to come to a branch to just figure this all out and like do something. So I start driving to a branch, because when they had called me, I was walking out of the grocery store. So I was already in my car, and I said, and I'm thinking like my money's being stolen. So I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way right now. I go to the branch, and on my way to the branch, she starts to like saying to me that the branch that I am currently going to is under investigation, because she asked me, she goes, is this the branch you're going to? And she named the address. She had that information. So they know where I'm banking. They know where I'm going to go. Like, and so basically, she tells me that this branch is under investigation and that I need you to go in there and try and withdraw X amount of cash, but the teller should not let you do it. So we need to just make sure that the teller's not in on it, and in order to do that, we just need to make sure she's not willing to give you any cash. And part of this is making sense to me. I'm like, okay, I guess, like, and obviously every time I speak this, or like this has been on my mind for 24 hours, like I can't live it down. And obviously, when this person's telling me all this, I'm in a state of panic, thinking like my shit is being like stolen, and I need to do this in order to keep my stuff safe. And yes, it's dumb, but that was my mindset in that moment. So I'm doing the thing. She tells me, go in there, keep me on the phone, put me in your pocket or purse or whatever. This lady is very kind, American accent. Not that wouldn't make her not kind, but that was just, I think, like when you think scam, you're thinking you're gonna get somebody foreign, or possibly like some sort of accent, or you can tell in some way, or it sounds like a call center. Like, no, none of those red flags were happening. And she tells me, okay, go in the bank and withdraw, and you are now part of this investigation, so just try and grab as much detail as you can. She goes, I understand this is an emotional situation. You are a victim of identity theft. Please take this seriously. You're a victim. And they got me. And long story short, I don't know, they had me convinced that the cash I pulled out was fraudulent cash, and that I needed a carrier to pick it up. Somebody needed to drive to my house, and a courier was to pick it up, because that's fraudulent cash, and if I were to touch it, I am now part of the FBI. And obviously, every time I say this, I want to shake my head empty and like bang my head against the table, because like, how stupid could I be? And I even like said to myself and told this woman on the phone, I'm not giving money over to a courier until I have replaced money. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like arguing with her, and they are so persistent, and she was like, well, if this, like, and I'm thinking like, well, if this was a scam, like, they'd probably just give up at this point, because I've called them scammers multiple times at this point. I'm telling them, like, you're scamming me. Why would I do this? They got me so good. Like, I am so stupid. Anyway, long story short, I take all of my cash that I withdrawed, and I gave it to a U.S. bank courier that was parked outside of my residence. I did that. I voluntarily gave over my money. They got me that good. I am 23 years of age. I am aware of these scams, and I'm so stupid. That's like the grief I'm going through. Like, I can't even say the number. Like, I can't put myself through that embarrassment, but just know I've been saving it for a long time, and it was my nest egg, and it was possibly going to get me some sort of property so I don't have to rent anymore. Like, I've worked for that for almost 10 years now. I've worked since I was 15 years old, and it's just taken away from me, but it wasn't. I gave it to them, and that's the part that rips me to shreds. So I'm just posting this so people can see it and not do it. Luckily, I'm okay. It wasn't all my money. I'll be able to pay my rent. I'll be able to eat. But it's just so disheartening that all I've worked for is not ripped away from me. I handed it over. And so, person, if you're watching this, good job, I guess. You deserved it. I was stupid enough and you worked me good enough to earn that money. So I'm the dumb one. I'm the idiot. But if your bank calls you, hang up and call your bank. Just please. And I don't know if I'm going to post this or leave it up or whatever, but whoever sees this, like, just know I'm violently embarrassed and I feel dumb enough, so you don't have to call me dumb. And if you see me in person, don't bring it up. But be careful and protect your things. Protect yourself.
Do you guys want to hear a story about a guy that I went on a date with who watched every single one of my TikToks and basically learned my entire life and all my interests and then used it in conversation to make it seem like we were super compatible and then just asked me to help him with his TikTok page? Do you guys want to hear that story? It just happened this morning and I was debating on posting this because I know that he's gonna fucking watch it because you're a fucking creep, but I decided that I'm gonna do it because if you want to make content, I'm gonna make content out of you. So basically what happened is I met this man like a month ago on a dating app, okay? The conversation was fine and then it died down very fast. That happens on dating apps, so I didn't really think anything of it. A few weeks passed by and all of a sudden he's sending me like multiple messages a day and it's nothing crazy. Like at first it's like, oh, how's your day? Oh, like you're really pretty. Oh, I'd love to take you out, like that kind of stuff. And I said, you know what? I really appreciate the effort and that he's like coming back to message me. So let me take him up on the offer. So I said, sure, why don't we get breakfast this morning or brunch or something? And immediately he's like, perfect. And he texted me last night to confirm. And he says to me, hey, I'm all down for like meeting you tomorrow, but I just wanted you to know that I just started fasting and working out. So I can't have a big meal. Mind you, I just posted that I just started my weight loss journey like 2.5 weeks ago. I've lost 11 pounds and I'm fasting, okay? I just posted about that. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like literally twins. Like that's so cool. We're both doing that. And so I'm like, okay, let's meet at this place and we can just get like something super small, something healthy. And he's like, perfect. Cool. We meet up for the day and I showed up super early. I think it was like 7 a.m. this morning because I was already up and he was there too. And we get our drinks. And we sit down and immediately I'm like, okay, I'm like, so I know we've already like kind of told each other about ourselves like through, you know, messages and stuff. I'm like, what are you looking for in a person? And immediately he's like telling me about myself. He's like, I would really like a hardworking woman. He's like, I don't really care if like she has kids. If you don't know, I have a son. I have a teenager. He's like, I would love someone that takes care of others. I'm a nurse. And just literally starts telling me about myself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so crazy. I haven't clocked it yet, okay? Because I'm stupid. Haven't clocked it yet. I'm literally thinking this is organic and that we're compatible and this is amazing. And then we start talking about other non-serious things. And I ask him, I say, what are your favorite TV shows? And he says, Grey's Anatomy, which I post about all the time. And then he says, every single anime that I've ever talked about on my page. And so that's when I was like, maybe, I'm like, this is kind of weird, okay? Okay, also, he would not stop talking about Chainsaw Man, which I fucking love. And so I'm like, I'm gonna catch this piece of shit in a lie. So I said, oh, like, who's your favorite character? And he literally goes, Chainsaw Man, like, obviously. And he goes, who's yours? And I said, oh, mine's Brody. And he goes, that's literally my dog. That's my sister's dog. Brody is not a character in Chainsaw Man. And he literally immediately is like, oh yeah, like he's so sick. Like this, I actually wanted to bash my head into the fucking table. You're insane. Then we start talking about travel. And I ask him, I say, where's somewhere that you've always wanted to go to? And he says, you know, I've always wanted to go to New York City. I just posted that I went to New York City 2.5 weeks ago. And then this next part is when I knew, and my stomach honestly started hurting because I just felt so uneasy and like violated. I don't even know if that's the right word. But he says, my dream is to go to the New York Public Library and just sit there and read. He's like, I've always thought about it and I feel like it would just change my life. I literally made an entire video talking about how that was my dream and how I got to live it and how I was so happy. And that's when I clocked it. And I don't even know, again, I don't know if the word violated is the right word, because I know that content is public. I know that social media is for everyone. Anyone can consume it. That's why people say, you know, be careful what you post on the internet. But I never in my life thought that my content would be used the way that it's being used in this situation, if that makes sense. And it just felt so gross and wrong. And so that's when, again, I clocked it and I honestly started getting mad. And he was deep in, like, he is talking about like nursing and psych and working remote, literally every single thing about myself, you guys. And so finally I asked him, I said, you know, what do you think about social media? And he says, oh, like, what about it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, you know, do you like TikTok? Do you like Instagram? Like, what do you like? And he goes, oh, he's like, of course. Like, I scroll on TikTok all the time. I like Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, what kind of content do you watch? And so he's telling me that he likes to watch, like, TikToks about how to be a content creator, this, and that. And I'm so pissed off at this point that I'm like, oh, do you watch this creator? And I said my username. And I could tell he like kind of got uncomfortable and like did a double take. And he goes, yeah, he's like, you know, I actually do think, now that you mention it, that your TikToks have like crossed my For You page once or twice, which makes sense because if you have my phone number, like, you know how it says like from your contacts or whatever. So I asked him, I said, is that why like you were persistent and asked me out? Because we had matched a month before that and it was crickets. And then now all of a sudden you are sending me messages every single day trying to meet up with me. And he literally goes, I'm not even shitting you guys. He goes, I'm going to be honest. He's like, I really want to be a content creator. I'm sick of my job. And I feel like we both have things that the other person wants. And I feel like we can help each other. And I'm like, oh, is that so? So I'm going to help you do content creation. You guys, mind you, this is fucking insane. I don't even have 1 million followers, okay? I literally am a girl that just posts because I'm bored and I have a phone. I have a full-time job. I made it very clear on this page that I am not posting to be a content creator. I am posting because it's fun, okay? And so I'm like, okay, so apparently we're gonna date. I'm gonna help you do content creation, help you with your page. What are you gonna do for me? Like, I'm really confused on what you think it is that I need from you. And he goes, which again makes me sick to my stomach because I literally just posted a video like a day or two ago talking about how like the only thing that I want from a relationship is companionship. And he literally says that to me. He's like, oh, well, like, you know, a partner in crime. He's like, someone to do life with, which is this actual fucking phrase that I literally said in that video. And I actually felt like I wanted to throw up. Like, I just felt so gross and uneasy. That's like the only way I can put it. I felt like I woke up in the middle of the night in the middle of a nightmare and I was in like a pitch black room. That's how I felt. And I just told him, I was like, you know what? I'm like, this was like super inappropriate. You're fucking creepy. I grabbed my phone off the table and I left and I immediately blocked him. And now I'm like overthinking everything. I'm like, anyone can see my TikToks. Anyone can claim to know anything about me and then not really use it against me, but they can use it to their benefit. You know what I mean? And that's honestly really, really scary.
I just watched a video about a girl talking about what it was like growing up in a haunted house, and it brought back so many memories of what it was like when I grew up in my haunted house, and I want to tell y'all about it. So I want to start off by telling y'all about the time my mom was doing laundry. My mom was doing laundry in her room. My room was the most haunted room in that house, okay? And let me tell y'all why. My mom was doing laundry and she would bring my laundry into my room to hang it up. She would hang it up, go back to her room, fold some more, bring it into my room. And about the second or third time she was coming back to my room to put my laundry up, she noticed that she couldn't open the door. And she didn't even remember closing the door. The door was closed. So she's like, okay, whatever. She tries opening it and she can't open it. So she pushes harder and she sees that something, I had like this big box of books in my room, and whatever the fuck was in my room
pushed that box of books in front of my door so my mom could not get in. Over time, we also noticed that, like, we had a whole bunch of chihuahuas. We had like 4 or 5 chihuahuas in our house, right? And these chihuahuas would never go in my room, ever. They followed my mom everywhere. Anytime she walked into my room, they just standed by the front door. And my mom was like, that's so weird, right? So she grabs the hot dog and she's like feeding it to the dogs, and they're like, oh, jumping around trying to eat these hot dogs. And my mom was like, okay, they love hot dogs. So she took it to my room, and she gets the hot dogs and she's like, come in here. She has the hot dogs. She's like, come in. And the dogs are like at my door and they're like, arr, arr, arr. They would not come in my room for that hot dog. Okay, and this is the part that fucked me up the most, okay, guys? The new Bratz movie just came out. This is early 2000s. I remember it like it was yesterday. The new Bratz movie came out, and my dad had a laptop. This is probably the first laptop ever made, okay? And I'm watching it in my room. I'm sitting on my bed with the laptop on my bed, and I'm watching the new Bratz movie, okay? On the screen, mind you, Bratz is still playing in the background. A black shadow shows up in my screen. And I'm going to show y'all what that black shadow did. I'm not exaggerating, guys. I'm literally not exaggerating. Mind you, it had the silhouette of a man, right? It was a full black shadow. So I couldn't see facial features or anything like that, but it was a man. Okay, not a woman. I run out of my room and I go to my dad, and I'm like scared. I'm fucking shaking. I'm shaking right now while I'm telling this story, okay? I tell my dad, I'm like, Dad, there was a fucking shadow in my movie. So my dad gets the laptop and rewinds the movie to like where I said the shadow was jumping around, and the shadow wasn't there. You know how hard it is to be a kid and know that there's fucking ghost in your house and your parents keep gaslighting you? They're like, dude, quit fucking tripping. Like, there's no such thing as ghosts, blah, blah. I'm like, bitch, yes, there is. Another very scary situation, okay? We went to McDonald's one day, right? And I got a little toy in my McDonald's bag. I think it was McDonald's. And the toy is like, you could squirt water out of it. It was like a water squirt toy. It was like this big, right? It's nighttime. We had a full day. Got McDonald's, whatever. I had my toy in my room that I got from McDonald's that day. Okay, I'm laying in bed, trying to go to sleep, and all of a sudden, I feel water splash on me. Okay, get up, look around. It's pitch black in my room. Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. Ah! Something splashed water on me. Okay, I run out of my room. I'm like, Mom. Something just splashed water on me. And my mom again is like, Ashley, you're tripping. Go back to bed. And I'm like, Mom, I swear to God. When I grew up, I had this same conversation with my mom. I was like telling her, like, Mom, I was not tripping. Something actually fucking splashed water on me in that room. And she was like, yeah, it was funny because when you turned around and walked back to your room after I yelled at you and told you to go back to your room, when you turned around to walk away, I saw water all down your back. And she was like, holy shit, something actually did splash water all over Ashley, right? Another time, I was laying in my room and I could hear ghost, okay? It sounded like there was like at least 10 ghosts around me, around my bed, and they're all going, ooh, ooh, ah! I'm getting goosebumps. There's like 10 of them at once, right? And I refused to open my eyes. I was just like, stop, go away. I was, at this point, I was getting angry at the ghost, right? Because they were fucking with me every night. And I was like, stop, go away, leave me alone, right? And I finally opened my eyes and I see, it's pitch black in my room. Dude, guys, I'm getting fucking goosebumps. I see 2 green eyes. 2 green eyes, and they look like cat eyes. They have like slits in them, just looking at me. If you remember my nymphomaniac story, right? This is during all of that, when my mom was getting fucked by random men on every single night, right? So imagine you're a kid and you're being haunted by ghosts on a nightly basis, and you can hear your mom getting her cheeks clapped. And you go to your mom's room and you're like, Mom, the ghosts are fucking with me. And you can just hear, Ashley, go away, go to bed. It's like, dude, Mom, please stop getting fucked. I am getting haunted. I'm scared. Another time, I'm laying in my bed, right? And to this day, I keep my feet covered with fucking blankets, right? I refuse to sleep with my feet out. Because one time I was sleeping in my bed and my feet were out of the blankets, okay? And I could feel something breathing on my toe. It's like, on my big toe. Okay, last story. It was early in the morning. I was getting ready for school, and my mom kept my socks in her top drawer in her room. So I was going to her room. I opened the top drawer to grab some socks, and the curtain in her window, right? Something behind it started punching the back of it. Okay, like this. I could see the curtain like moving as if someone's punching from behind it, right? And I'm like, oh my God, like it's my brother, right? Immediate thought is like, my brother's behind there, like fucking with me. I look down at the bottom of the curtain, there's no feet. There was no feet. So I take off running to my mom. Dude, I'm getting so many goosebumps. The ghost fucked with me, okay? Ghosts are real. I don't care what no one says. Anyways, this is just a story from that house alone, okay? When I grew up, I started playing the Ouija board a lot, and I have a whole bunch of haunted stories about the Ouija board too. But that is just from that house alone. That house was so fucking haunted. Anyway, I'm going to post a picture of it right here, actually. Okay, here's the house in 2007. This is when I actively lived here. This is it. It's just a clearer photo, but this is the house in 2013. I clearly don't live here anymore. And this is the house now. But this motherfucker is haunted.